I am Dr. Chandrika HS, working as a consultant in Chirag Hospital, JP Nagar, second phase, Bangalore. Well, always I tell my people that menopause should not be considered as a disease. It is a phase of life of a female. So, mentally, you have to be prepared that there is something called menopause and I am going to face it. That is one particular thing that you have to be prepared for because it is not something dangerous. Don't think that there is something going to happen. It is a natural process. See, the hormone phase of a female gets over and they have to go into a phase where they are not supported with hormones from the ovaries. That is what is called as menopause. Because of the failure of hormones present in that particular phase of an individual, some symptoms happen, and these are the symptoms of menopause. The commonest one is hot flushes. Hot flushes, what is it is? Along the face, you feel sudden warmth, and suddenly they become red and they feel that hotness. So that happens in sudden attacks. So this is called as hot flushes. And this hot flushes is due to the erratic production of estrogens and progesterone. So when the estrogen suddenly pumps out, that time there is a vasodilatation in the facial vessels, and that time so much blood is pumped inside, and so the individual feels suddenly hot and they start sweating. One more thing is dryness of the vagina. Vaginal mucosa is a particular mucosa. It's a delicate mucosa which is always being nurtured by the hormones of the female ovaries. So these hormones are estrogen and progesterone. So this particular hormone called estrogen is the one which maintains the vitality of the vaginal mucosa. When this particular hormone estrogen is lacking after menopause, that particular thing is not there in the vaginal layer. So because of lack of estrogens, the mucosa of the vagina becomes dry. That is the cause for vaginal dryness. See, usually in an individual who is young, a lady who is young, she will be producing regular doses of hormones, estrogen and progesterone. Because of the estrogen and progesterone, she will be able to maintain one amount of moistureness in the vagina, and this moistureness acts as a lubricant and it helps in routine functioning of the vagina. So one thing is for regular sexual activity and one more thing is for preventing infections. So these things are all lost in cases of menopausal women, and that is called as vaginal dryness. And this vaginal dryness also can be tackled. If you have any problem, please meet your obstetrician and gynecologist so that she'll be able to tackle it properly for you. Then one more thing with menopause is mood swings. Mood swings also happens due to the same erratic production of hormones in the menopausal women. So mood swings happen. Sometimes they become elated, sometimes they become depressed. And these things also, particularly this mood swings, is one thing which has to be tackled not by medicines but by your mind. And it is our Indian culture and Indian religious habits that which will help us in getting over these things called as mood swings. So in this type of mood swings, it is the time where you have to adapt yourself and you have to divert your mind from what is happening. So that when you divert your mind and you get involved in something else, that time these mood swings and all can be taken care of. And one more thing is depression also. This is very common nowadays in even youngsters. So there comes the help of cultural activities that is there in our Indian system. So in these cultural activities, you participate more and more so that you will be more involved in that. That time you will not know that you are lacking something. And that is how you can get over this mood swings. And interrupted sleep is also one problem of menopause. The reason for that interrupted sleep is also that is erratic production of estrogens and progesterones. See, night times when they are sleeping, suddenly there is production of estrogen, and that time they will have that hot sweats. That is because of that sudden pumping of the estrogen hormone, the blood vessels gets dilated and they suddenly become warm and suddenly they start sweating. And once they sweat, suddenly the body tries to regulate, and that time you feel started suddenly feeling cold. Because of that thing happening regularly in the night, they are not able to have peaceful sleep. And here also we have to understand the basic mechanism and we have to try to get over it. One more thing what I have seen is sleeplessness also can be got over by regular doing of yoga. Yogic practices gives you a very good night's sleep. So I recommend all menopausal women to go for regular yoga, and you do that regular yoga for about 1 hour daily. And when you do this regular yoga and some physical activity also, then your sleep will be definitely sound and you will definitely get over this sleeplessness in the night with menopausal symptoms. Well, heavy bleeding in menopause is one of the commonest symptoms, and it is annoying also because it is definitely going to hamper your routine activities in life. So, what is the cause of this heavy bleeding in menopause? Again, this cause of heavy bleeding in menopause is also due to erratic hormone production. Any lady who is having menstruation, the process of menstruation happens because initial part of the month it is growth of the endometrium due to the hormone called as estrogen. In the latter half of the month, it is the progesterone comes into picture. So what happens in estrogen, when estrogen phase is there, is the endometrium grows very thick, and after that, when the estrogen phase is over, progesterone also comes in, and it tries to shrink that endometrium to a certain extent, and it makes it more firm. So that if it's natural cycle where there is cyclical production of estrogen and progesterone, this particular thing happens and this is taken care of, and so they will have normal menstrual bleeding. Whereas in menopausal women, there is erratic production of hormones. What happens in menopausal women is there is overproduction of estrogens, and the whole cycle will be under the influence of estrogen only. And because of that excessive production of estrogen, there is overgrowth of this endometrium, and this overvascularization also of the endometrium. And because of that overvascularization and overgrowth, there is a heavy menstrual bleeding which happens when the endometrial layer has to be shed. So if this particular thing is there, please meet your obstetrician and gynecologist so that she will be able to take care of it, because there is no need for you to suffer this one. Because I don't want any of you to suffer with this, because you are losing blood and you will go on to become anemic. And if you become anemic, you will become tired, you will not be having mood in your day-to-day activities, and you will get depressed, and you will have all the problems that follows with this heavy bleeding. And it will definitely have a bearing on your profession and your routine activity in life. So when you have this heavy bleeding in menopause, you better meet your doctor so that they'll find out the cause and they'll tackle it accordingly and safely.